Ever find yourself wishing there was a web design company out there that really gets it? You know, a company that understands your love for that 59 Les Paul or that hand-wired amp you poured your heart into.
Yeah, a company that speaks your language.
Exactly. Well, that's what we're diving into today. Six-string web design.
They're all about building websites specifically for the guitar and music world.
And get this, they're not just some techies who happen to like music on the side.
Oh no, these are musicians, vintage instrument restorers. They live and breathe this world.
Right, they're active members of the guitar community themselves. It all starts with the owner, Phil Carson. He's been a guitarist for over 40 years.
And not just casually strumming chords either.
No, we're talking serious player here, and that's a key point here, I think.
Absolutely, because that experience directly shapes how Six String operates. Phil understands the needs of musicians because he is one. It's like, imagine the difference between someone reading a cookbook and a seasoned chef who can whip up a five-star meal.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
And speaking of craftsmanship, did you know Phil is also amazing at restoring vintage guitars?
Oh yeah, bringing these instruments back to life piece by piece.
With this incredible precision.
And it's no surprise that this meticulous approach he uses for restoring guitars carries over to how Six String designs websites. They pay that same attention to detail, that same craftsmanship to the digital world.
So they're approaching these websites with the same care as they would restoring like a 59 Les Paul. That's
Yeah.
wild. But for someone listening, like, how does that actually translate to the services Six String offers?
Well, it all comes down to understanding that a website, especially for a musician or someone in the music business, it's not just a digital storefront, right?
Yeah.
It needs soul. It's got to be an extension of their passion. Take their custom website designs, for instance. They've really got a knack for capturing the essence of a brand.
Yeah, and we're not just talking aesthetics here.
No, not at all.
It's got to be functional, too.
Absolutely.
I was on their website, and I saw they offer e-commerce solutions,
Yeah.
but specifically designed for selling instruments.
There you go. That's a perfect example of where their specialized knowledge makes a real difference. Imagine you run a guitar shop.
Right.
You need a platform that not only shows off your inventory, and I'm talking making those guitars look gorgeous online, but also a platform that understands the ins and outs of selling these kinds of instruments online, you know?
Yeah, totally.
You need secure payment gateways because we're talking about high-value items here. You've got to have detailed product descriptions that'll really speak to a guitar player's heart. And then the shipping. Protecting those babies in transit, that's huge. Six String gets that. They've got it all covered.
Makes sense. It's like, why would you go to a general web design company when you could have one that speaks your language? You know?
100%.
And speaking of speaking their language, their work goes way beyond just shops. I was checking out their portfolio, and they build these really awesome websites for individual musicians, too.
Exactly. And they get it, you know? A musician's portfolio is more than just a photo gallery.
Right.
It's got to showcase their sound, their style, their unique voice.
Got to help them connect with the right people, too.
Exactly. Potential clients, collaborators, fans, you name it. Heck, they even help musicians sell their music directly to fans. No middleman.
Now, that's what I'm talking about. But with so many musicians online these days, how do they make sure these websites actually get seen by the right people? Isn't that like the million-dollar question these days?
It is, and that's where their deep understanding of SEO and online marketing really comes into play. They understand the guitar community online like the back of their hand. They know where musicians hang out online, what they search for, the kind of language that resonates with them. It's about crafting content, but also about optimizing the whole website, so it's not just a beautifully made instrument hidden away in its case. They want your online presence to sing.
So it's more than just websites, really. It's about creating these whole online experiences.
It is.
That actually tap into what the music community is all about.
Yeah.
And this reminds me, we were talking about community. We have to talk about how Six String actually walks the walk when it comes to building online communities. So we've got to talk about Phil's online guitar forum, theguitarforum.net.
Right.
I mean, from what I've heard, this is the place to be online if you're into guitars.
Oh, absolutely. It's more than just a forum, really. It's like this living, breathing testament to what Phil understands about musicians.
What's that?
We crave connection. We want a place to share what we know, to geek out over this stuff together.
Totally. So to say this whole community aspect is important to Six String, that's kind of an understatement.
It's in their blood. I mean, it's not like an afterthought, you know? They
Yeah.
live it every day, and that's what I think is so powerful, you know?
Yeah.
Because they're not just building websites, they're building bridges connecting people within the guitar world.
And they get it, you know? It's more than just putting some guitar jargon on a website.
Exactly. It's about understanding the culture, the humor.
The inside jokes.
Yes. It's those shared experiences that really bring people together.
So, I mean, how do we sum all this up? For someone listening who's, say, a musician or a luthier, someone who really wants to make a go of it in the music world, what does all this mean for them?
Imagine this. You're a luthier. You pour your heart into each instrument you craft, right? But your website is just like kind of there. It doesn't really capture the soul of what you do.
Right.
Six String, they don't just build you a website, they build you this virtual showroom. Every pixel, every detail, it's all crafted to showcase your work. You know, your online presence will be just as captivating as the instruments you build.
It's like they become an extension of your passion.
Exactly. They get it in a way that most web designers just wouldn't. They become like partners in making sure your unique voice gets heard.
I like that. Partners in amplification.
There you go.
Really makes you think, what if finding the right web designer wasn't just about checking things off a list, but about finding someone who really speaks your language, someone who can translate your passion to the online world? That's powerful.
It really is. It's that human connection, I think, moving beyond just the transaction to something way more meaningful.
And in a world that's just flooded with websites, that's saying something. So to everyone out there listening, don't settle for a website that's just okay. You deserve a website that sings.
You do. A website as unique as your own voice.